everyone, welcome back to Jenny's Bookshelf. Today we're going to pick my books for July. So when I pick my books, I use a TBR game called TBR Clue, where I use a clue board with cards. It's fun. I also use prompts from my Shakespeare Insults mug, and this mug is getting dangerously low. So I have some predictions about what I'm going to pull out, but I'm not going to predict in case I totally jinx myself. But I always go over at the beginning of my monthly TBR how I did last month, and if I get to guess this correctly, or if I have to guess without knowing all of the cards, and I will have a playlist linked in case you're wanting to know how that works. So in the hall, I had to read a book that was based on The Room of the Study, and I read God of Freedom. In the lounge, I had to read a book based on The Knife, and I read 12 Caesars because they stab each other a lot. For the dining room, I had to read a book that was science fiction or fantasy, and I read The Lost World. In the kitchen, I had to read a book based on Professor Plum, and I read A Kiss Before Dying. In the ballroom, I had to read a seasonal read, and I read For the Love of the Bard, as that takes place only in summer. In the conservatory, I had to read a thriller, and I read The Murder of King Tut. In the billiards room, I had to read a new-to-me author, and I read The Book of the City of the Ladies. In the library, I had to read a play, and I read The Bald Soprano. And in the study, I had to read a book based on the ballroom, and I read We've Always Lived in the Castle. Because I've read all the prompts, I can reveal that this now, by the process of elimination, is Professor Plum in the lounge with the wrench. So, first card is the lounge. Nope, that way. The next one is Professor Plum. And the last one is the wrench. There we are. So we're going to move on to next month's board. You would think that after doing this for 6 months, I would know by now that instead of doing the board, I'm doing the author jar pull first. So I am proud to say that I have finished June's author pull books. They were not a top priority for the month, and I finished them very quickly. All right, let's pick out 2 new ones. I have 2 that I would really like to read in July. So we have Evelyn Waugh. I don't know what I have of hers, but I will get it in a second. And then another one is Dickens. Charles Dickens. Okay, I'll go get them. So, Evelyn Waugh here. I did not realize that she wrote Bridesheads Revisited. I don't know anything about this. I should read the back first, I guess. So this one says it has themes of love, loss, religion, and reinvention against the backdrop of a changing world. Set in the interwars years, it tells the stories of Charles Ryder, a young man infatuated with the aristocrat Marchmain family. When Charles encounters Lord Sebastian Flint at Oxford, he is dazzled by his glamorous country estate known as Brideshead. But Charles also discovers complex family relationships and a fragile state of privilege corroded by Sebastian's alcoholism and the deep inevitability of war. So that sounds interesting. I'm gonna give this a good shot. The reason why I'm saying this is a good shot, I'll explain in a second. The Dickens one is one that I've already started and I have not made much progress in. I'm picking out David Copperfield because this is my next big timeless tome book and I still have not read it yet. So I'm gonna make some progress in it if I can in June, as I'm pre-filming this a little bit towards the end of the month. And we'll see how much I have left. I'm not gonna get much farther. And according to my rules of Clue, which I don't remember if I stated in my first video of the year, but I am able to put on books that I have already started. So I will be doing this for my Charles Dickens. Don't know why I said David Copperfield again. I keep mixing this up. I think I just need to move on to the cards bit. So as per usual, we're going to talk about my plans for the next month. So obviously, Jane Austen July is a big thing. I will be reading too much for Jane Austen July. And I can say that with absolute confidence, as I will be hopefully, I don't even know how much I'll be reading, 3 Jane Austen full novels? I don't know. But anyways, I will direct you to my Jane Austen July TBR, which I will link up there. I think that's where it is. But then I also have 2 buddy reads with Chris, so I will be reading those ones. In order to get to the 8th book when it's published in September, we need to read 2 books in July. So the next 2 for the Enola Holmes series is which I'm talking about is, let me just quickly grab them. These 2. So it's the Gypsy Goodbye, which is actually book 6 that I'm not reading right now. And then the Case of the Crypt Crinoline. My English is gone right now and I'm still deciding to film, so we'll see how this goes today. But these are my next 2 books that I will be reading for my buddy read with Chris. I will link their channel down below as well. So that one will be good. I'm enjoying the read with Enola Holmes. Then I also will be reading for the Narnia read along, which I forgot to do last month before I found it. Or I saw Amy from ASO Reads, who's hosting the read along, reading, and I was like, oh, that's happening. So I will be reading the next 2 books in the series as well for that. I have already read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and and Prince Caspian, as we are reading them in publication order, not chronological order. Like I said, English is hard right now. Okay, there we go. That's done. So the next 2 that we'll be reading for that are these 2. So we'll be reading The Voyage of the Dawn Treader and The Silver Chair. I have never read in these editions, but I love these covers. Like, just look at them. I will use these 2 books with their covers for my wrap up, so you can see the other 2 covers in this edition of my other 2 ones I've already previously read this month. In regards to the other things I am reading, so for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, I am reading a Jane Austen book for that. The challenge for July is to read a book that you've been avoiding. I have been avoiding Emma. I realized that I have not read this book in 8 years, and this is the Jane Austen book I have been avoiding the most. So I'm gonna put that on there. For the Read Christie 2022 project, I will be reading, in this edition, I'll be reading the Up Here, A Caribbean Mystery. I am very excited to read a Miss Marple book, and I am very excited to read about the Caribbean mystery. So I believe she's on a cruise or something. She's on holiday. She does not live in the Caribbean. I'm gonna go with that. For the book cover challenge, we are to read a book with a tool on the cover. I'm gonna go with The Silver Chair. The chair is a tool, but it's a spoiler. I'm not telling you why. When you read it, you can discover why the chair is a tool, and that's all I'm gonna say. The final thing for my prompts or challenges or whatever else is for the buzzwordathon, which is to read books with bookish words in the title. I have several. I have my buzzwordathon recommendations video that I put out every month. That has 3 or 4 recommendations, or not recommendations, but picks I have on my radar. So I will probably be picking up one of those, but I'm definitely most interested, I think, in The Pirate's Wife. Still can't pronounce that author's name. It's very long, but I'll put the picture up here, and that has the subtitle with The True Story of Sarah Kidd or something like that. So story is there. It's a bookish word, and I'm going with that. So those are all of my extra things. Let's get on to the board. Prompt number 1 is a novella. So for the first room in the hall, we got a novella. Yeah, that's right, novella. And for that one, I'll be picking the first Jane Austen July book that I maybe will not be reading, but one of the first ones I do need to be reading, which will be Lady Susan. This one is a very short novella in letters, and it is very snarky. It's satire, and it is wonderful. I love Lady Susan. So this is going to be my novella, which works so perfectly. This one follows a woman who is basically the anti-hero of her little novella, where she is writing letters to these people, but also she has a daughter and she is a widow. And so she's trying to marry her daughter off, but at the same time, she's a widow, so she can also flirt with all the men too. It's quite fun, and I really thoroughly enjoy how it makes fun of things, but also is quite interesting. I like Jane Austen's wit in this one in particular. Prompt number 2 is Mrs. Peacock, or The Color Blue. So if you have not seen my Jane Austen July TBR, I will direct you to that, because the next room was where we got Mrs. Peacock, or The Color Blue. I am not going with a blue book, but I'm going one with a bird on it, because that one has a bird. So this is Enola Holmes, The Case of the Cryptic crinoline. This one has a little bird, like I said, and I'm gonna go with that one. I have a really big TBR over there and I plan to read all of it. So there we go. That's the first of my Enola Holmes books on this TBR, and I am excited. This will be actually the first one I read of the two, so I'm happy to get to it. I think in this one it says that Enola's landlady gets kidnapped and she has to go rescue her. So I'm excited to figure out what happens there. Enola's always in a new venture and it's always fun. Prompt number 3 is an auto-buy author. For an auto-buy author, I'm gonna give you a second to just think about who I might be putting here. Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie. I'm putting in my Caribbean mystery on this one. Always by Agatha Christie. I own too many Agatha Christies, considering that she's not writing anymore, she's dead, and I still keep buying her books. But she's an auto-buy author. And they just come out with new covers, and I'm very tempted to buy all the Miss Marples in the new covers. But I haven't. Good self-control on me. Prompt number 4 is a diverse book. For a diverse read, I will be reading one of my arcs, which is a Jane Austen retelling. It's called The Wrong Mr. Darcy, and I believe this one is from a Latinx family or a Latinx author. I'm not sure what else, but I do know this is a diverse Pride and Prejudice retelling. I know it has bad reviews, but I am going to try it and see how it goes with me, if I like it or not. I'm really going to give it a good shot this year and actually give it an attempt. So this is the one for diverse, and if not, if I DNF it, I have to find something new because of my rules of my game. So there will be something diverse in my TBR, even if I feel like this one is not a good book. So there will be something else. Prompt number 5 is a country. For a country, this one could be applicable to a randomized country, and I tried, and there's nothing on my TBR that like fits that physically, nothing that I could easily get my hands on, and nothing that I was in the mood for, which I really just don't want to slump myself. So I also can turn this prompt as something as a country I want to go to, or one country that I am learning about, or something along those lines. So I am going to go with this book, which is set in Greece, which is a country I would like to visit one day. And this is called Thief of Corinth by Tessa Afshar. I've been wanting to reread this kind of companion books trilogy. It's not really a trilogy. There are 3 books together. So this is the Thief of Corinth, and then it comes Daughter of Rome, and then the Jewel of the Nile, and they're all kind of tied together with one character. So I'm wanting to go that journey with him. So I need to restart, and I'm excited to read this one. And this one is set in Greece, which I have never been to. I would like to see it one day, and that's what I'm going with. I can try again later with another country, or just try England for Jane Austen's work, so like the UK. So that's something else I can try. Prompt number 6 is my most recent haul. For a most recent haul, to my shame, I have not been filming hauls this year, which I feel like is very representative in my stack of books, which is on the table beside me. And that's gonna be my 6-month haul for the whole year. But one of those books I've hauled very recently is The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. And I am very excited. The cover just looks amazing. The title tells it all I need. But I have read the back since purchasing this and since talking about my Jane Austen July TBR. And it looks like a bunch of characters from all over Jane Austen's world are coming together, which is even better. I love that. So it's about Mr. Knightley and Emma throwing a house party, and then Mr. Wickham is not invited, obviously. But then there's Juliet Tilney is there, who I've never heard of before. The daughter of, Catherine and Henry, how wonderful. Sorry, these are my spoilers for Jane Austen stuff. You can skip to this book when I have another book up. Then you have people who are from the Darcys. Oh, in a tantalizing fusion of Jane Austen and Agatha Christie. This book is made for me. I hope it's amazing. If it's not, I'm gonna be so sad. So this is our most recent haul book. Prompt number 7 It's an animal in the title or as a main character. So it's an animal in the title or as the main character. This is one I actually literally just talked about, I think in my mid-June TBR, where I said, oh, I'm saving the last one and this one for my animal as a main character title book prompt. Because the last one I have in here is the Volpone or the fox, which is an animal. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm finishing this one off. I'm trying to find the cover. So this is what it is, the Volpone or the fox. This one is by not Ben Jonson. That's the last one I read. I'll have to find that for you. Yeah, Ben Jonson. Don't know why I was mixing that up. So I will be reading this one by Ben Jonson for this one probably. I'm 99% sure because I just want to, get these books off. And this is another one of these books, which I hadn't planned on reading this month, but if I do read it instead of, I don't know, say maybe David Copperfield, I'm not going to be mad at myself, but I would like to get to this one as well as David Copperfield. But this would be nice to finish off this complete bind up, and then I would be able to say I read all of these Elizabethan dramas. Prompt number 8 is a cozy mystery. For a cozy mystery, I'm going to go with The Case of the Gypsy Goodbye. This is another Enola Holmes book. These are both by Nancy Springer, and I figured, why not just get this one on as well? I mean, it's a nice cozy kind of thing. It's really fast paced, but it is a cozy mystery, as this is kind of for upper YA, well, not upper YA, upper middle grade, younger YA. They're very short. These ones are still under 200 pages to my knowledge, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly. Yeah, this one's 166 pages, so it's not even 170 pages. They're very short, they're very fast, but they're also directed at that young YA area. So it's pretty good. I really enjoy them, and I enjoy how fast paced they're getting with the mysteries. So I think they're wonderful so far, and I think this counts for a cozy mystery. And prompt number 9 is Miss Scarlett, or The Color Red. The last one was a Miss Scarlett, and for that one, I was like, what should I do? I have 2 options, which honestly, one of them does not sound very intriguing to me right now, and that's kind of sad. So I have Rainbow Valley by Ella Montgomery, and I think I'm burning out on reading all of these books in a row. So I'm doing this for the Analong, and I am just not a series reader as a whole. So I don't like to read book by book by book by book. And I think by reading almost all of these books I've read 5 in a row, and I'm struggling with book number 6. I'm struggling with Anne of Ingleside. So I just need to read it, but this is the next one. So Rainbow Valley is about Anne and her family, and obviously her daughters. Some of them have red hair. I'm gonna go with that one for Miss Scarlett. But if I don't know, not super keen on that. I have a really big book, which I should not be even considering. I have this one. It's also a recent haul book. Bloody Rose is by Nicholas Eames. This is a sequel to Kings of the Wild, which I enjoyed for the most part. I wasn't sure if it was going to continue, but right now this is just something completely different from what I've been reading, and maybe this is what I'm in the mood for. So I'm going to put this on as a tentative, palette cleanser, maybe. I mean, she's got red hair. I mean, it's way bigger. I shouldn't be considering it, but that's my final potential. And if you're new to these as well, I don't have to read the books I show you. These are potential options, but I do have to fulfill all 9 prompts in order to reveal all 9 rooms. If I read 8 prompts, then I get to reveal 8 rooms, and I still have 2 cards that are not revealed. So I still have to read at least 9 books for all of the 9 prompts. So those are the books that I will be reading for TBR Clue. I also have, of course, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. So this one I would put for diverse, but I'm not finishing it in July. I'm finishing it in August. So this one will be quite the big one. We're finishing it off. If you want to join us, it is a little late, but you are happy to, I hope you can join in and keep going and catch up. This one we will be reading the next 2 sections. So I will leave my announcement video linked down below for this one if you'd like to check out where we will be reading. The live streams are on my channel for discussion and how we are going through this. So that's what I'm reading as well. Also on top of that, I have my massive Jane Austen July TBR, which I talked about. And then I think that was it. Let me just double check. One quick note before I completely forget. I do really want to read The Betrayal of Anne Frank, a cold case investigation by Rosemary Sullivan. This one is something I have been really intrigued by. I saw it and grabbed it about 6 months ago, I think. Maybe, yeah, it's been less than 6 months because I've definitely pulled it this year or hauled it this year. And this one is by, about a retired investigator from the FBI who is like retired and he's bored and he's like, why has no one ever figured out who betrayed Anne Frank and her family and the people who they were living with? So this is where he just spends all of his energy trying to figure out what happened and how they were betrayed and who was the one who betrayed them. So it sounds very interesting and I just need to put it on a TBR so I can actually prioritize reading this instead of just saying, oh, that sounds so interesting, and not reading it yet. So before I forgot, this is one I wanted to add as well. So this one sounds very interesting to me and I will hopefully be adding it, like reading it very soon in the month of July. Yeah, I think that's it. We're all good. I have nothing else aside from my Jane Austen July TBR, which I will direct you to, but I will actually comment on what I said earlier about how I have some potential not finishing of my giant David Copperfield and Bryce Head Revisited. Because on my Jane Austen July TBR, I have this one, which is also by an author Evelina by Frances Burney. I also have in my Jane Austen July TBR, I have Vindication of the Rights of Women, which I am going to do my best to read, by Mary Wollstonecraft, which is also in the jar. And I just have these hopes that I can read these. And now I also have Ben Jonson. So if I don't get to these 2, I'm not going to be super mad because I've already read 2 other ones. And that's the real goal of my jar. But I am going to attempt to push myself to at least try Evelyn Waugh, as I'm thinking that this one is an author I've never tried before. So I should at least give her a try and see. And that's my plan. So aside from that, I feel pretty confident but I have a lot of books to read and I think I should just start reading David Copperfield right now and see how far I can get. But please let me know down below what you'll be reading for July. If you have any big plans, if you're doing Jane Austen July, if you're doing the read along of Count Monte Cristo with us, and if you're gonna catch up or not. I'd love to chat all things TBR down below. So please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.